Hey everyone, Shaun Stevenson here, author of the Throne series, and today I've got a book haul because my book cart was full of books that I've been finding and collecting, and I needed to get them off and put away. So, hey everyone, editing Shaun here. I just had to come in and say this is actually a book haul. It is like spooky season right now, but this is a book haul from June. So I wanted to get it to you because I thought you should see the stuff that I found in June. I found some really fun stuff. So, without further ado, here is a book haul from the past. Here we are. We've got a lot to talk about. First up, we're diving right in. There's so much here to talk about. But first up, my brother sent me some amazing comics. These are an adaptation of The Patchwork Girl of Oz, a book in the L. Frank Baum Oz series, and these are issues from Image Comics. This one is issue number 1 of The Patchwork Girl of Oz, and this one came out in January of 2025. So this one is the first one in the run, and these are done by Otis Frampton, who did the adaptation and the illustrations, and they're a lot of fun. They're really true to the storyline of the book. And so this is issue number 1. And then here is issue number 2, which came in February of 2025 with Dr. Pipt right there on the cover, making some interesting things that are going to be used in this book. So this one is issue number 2. And then also issue number 3 from March of 2025, where The Powder of Life is right there by Dr. Pipt. So these are the first 3 in the series. It's not done yet. The run's not finished, but I really love the artwork. Thank you to my brother for sending these to me. It was super awesome. And then I was at a Goodwill and I found these for 25 cents each. And I was super excited to track these down because I haven't read any of these yet, but they're YA thrillers and horror books from Joan Lowry Nixon. So the first one I found was Don't Scream. So this one, it has a little bit of a sticker issue I've been working on trying to get off, using the hairdryer to try and get those stickers off, and it has taken a while. But I'm excited about these. They look like a lot of fun. So this one is Don't Scream. And then this one is called Shadow Maker. And then another sticker apocalypse on this one, but this one is The Ghosts of Now. And another sticker apocalypse, but Whispers from the Dead. And you know, they were 25 cents each. I'll keep working on these stickers, trying to get them off. Why they put such bad stickers on these books, I do not know, but there it is. So I'm still working on it, trying to get them off. But I'm excited to have these all in these like hard packs that are library bindings that looked really great. They're all ex-library copies, but I was super excited. The insides are great. So that's what matters. And then I have been finding so many Christopher Pike books. Now, after I read Scavenger Hunt by Christopher Pike, I was sold on Christopher Pike books. That book was so wild and so out there, but I really enjoyed it. So I've been hunting these down. Every time I find one, I'm going for it. So I found a few Christopher Pikes. So the first one I got was Execution of Innocence. And it says, Death and Devotion in a Small Town. And then the next one I got was Spellbound. You can close your eyes. It won't help. And then this one looks really interesting. It's called Magic Fire. And it says, He loved to burn. And then also The Visitor. And then I found his second book in the Final Friends series. So this is book number 2, The Dance. And then I found 2 point horror books, and they looked like a lot of fun, really interesting YA point horror, so I grabbed them both. The first one was Party Line by A. Bates. It says this one is, Your next phone call could be your last. And then Diane Hoh, she wrote Fun House, which this one says, You can die laughing. And speaking of Diane Hoh, I may or may not have found quite the stack of Nightmare Hall books. These were $1.99 each at a half price books. And I could not believe it when I saw them. I literally saw the whole shelf and it was full of these. And they had more ones that I already had. And so I was like looking like, oh, I have that one. I have that one. Don't have that one. Don't have that one. Don't have that one. I cleared that shelf nearly completely off because I was just thinking, wow, I can't believe I found all these. They're in good condition for $1.99. That is incredible. So here we go through all of the ones I found, all 15 of these Nightmare Hall books, which Yes, I am now very close to a complete set. I only need 6 more, and I have all the Nightmare Hall books. So here is book number 4, The Wish. And book number 5, The Scream Team. Book number 6, Guilty. Book number 7, Pretty Please. Book number 10, Sorority Sister, which I love the step back art for this one, because at the cover you have this great little picture of, oh, these 2 friends. And then you open the cover to see this. And I thought, oh, that's so great. Whoever designed that, genius. I love it. And then book number 11, Last Date. Book number 12, The Whisperer. Book number 15, Truth or Die. Book number 18, Win, Lose, or Die. Book number 19, The Coffin. Book number 21, Student Body. Book number 25, Captives. Book number 26, Revenge. Book number 28, The Dummy, which, I wonder what we might be spoofing right there. Interesting. And then the last book in the series, book number 29, The Voice in the Mirror. I could not believe I found all those Nightmare Hall books. I was blown away. And there's more, because I also found a ton of Fear Street books. So I was at a used bookstore that I have been going to for a while now, finding tons and tons of awesome retro used thriller, spooky horror books, and they had quite a few Fear Streets. So there were a few on the shelf. 2 of them I didn't have, and then I took them up to the front, where at this store they have this giant mountain of books that have come in, and it's like 1 or 2 workers who are like processing all of these books, and it's a very slow process because literally there's a mountain of books there. And so they're processing these books, and I asked, can I look through the stack here and just see if there's anything? And they said, oh, sure, just know we'll have to process it before you buy it. So I thought, oh yeah, no problem. So I'm looking at the stack, and I found a Fear Street book that is pretty hard to find. And I pulled it out and I thought, oh, I can't believe that this is here. And then the worker said, oh, are you looking for Fear Street books? I got a whole stack right here that we haven't put out yet. Do you want to look at them? And of course I said, yes. And one of them in particular usually goes for quite a bit of money. And the worker told me, well, normally I would put that in the glass case and it would be marked pretty high. But since you're buying so many other ones, I'll give you a really good deal on it. How about $5? And I thought, yes, please, because I know how much that goes for online, and I feel a little bad taking this at this price, but also I don't, because I love that price. So here are all the Fear Street books I picked up at that bookstore in just one fell swoop. I was so excited. So I picked up a copy of The Stepsister 2. I also got The Rich Girl, and then I found All Night Party. And I also got Secret Admirer. And then this one was one of the ones that is hard to find, and that is Into the Dark. And then I got book number 3 in the Fear Street saga, The Burning. And then I also got in 99 Fear Street, The House of Evil, the first one, The First Horror. And then I also picked up Cheerleaders, The First Evil. And then this was the one I found at the bottom of the stack, and that is Fear Hall, The Beginning. I couldn't believe all those books that I found. It was incredible. It was such an awesome moment. And then I also picked up a couple more middle grade spooky books. And the first one I found was another one in the American Chillers series by Jonathan Rand. And that is book number 2, Ogres of Ohio. I slowly collect these when I find them for like 99 cents because I don't like paying more than that for these, but I'm slowly picking these up as I find them. And then I also picked up book number 4 in the Monster Hunter series by Nancy Garden, Mystery of the Kidnapped Kidnapper, which this one looks like a lot of fun. I can't wait to read more in this series. And then I did not even know this book existed. I'm a huge Joseph Delaney fan who tragically passed away this past year, actually. And so I was super excited to find this because I've never seen it before, and I really love Joseph Delaney's books. He has just such a great storytelling style and a way of like doing reveals that are so interesting. So I found a hardback edition of The Ghost Prison by Joseph Delaney, which is set in the world of The Last Apprentice, which is a series also known as Spooks in the UK. And this one was a lot of fun. I actually just read it the other night because it's a short little book and it has tons of great artwork inside. So I read this through and it was a lot of fun. Such a good little story. And then I also picked up a few more Berenstain Bears Big Chapter books and Berenstain Bears Scouts books. I found 4 more I didn't have yet. So the first one I got was The Berenstain Bears and the Red-Handed Thief, which I don't remember if I've read this one before when I was younger, but now I have it. So, and the mystery ones so far are the better ones of these Berenstain Bear books. And then I also picked up The Berenstain Bear Scouts and the Humongous Pumpkin. I've read this one and I remember this one and it's a lot of fun. I can't wait to reread this. And then I also picked up The Berenstain Bear Scouts and the Evil Eye, which this one is in pretty good shape, honestly. I don't even think it's been really read. It's like in a pretty good shape, so I was excited to find this one. And then I also picked up The Berenstain Bear Scouts and the Ice Monster, which looks like another like pretty good shape one, a little bit bent, but not too bad. And I was super excited to find this one because I've never read this one. And then I also picked up some more books that were Christian fiction from the 90s, and some of these are interesting. I never knew that there was a Choose Your Own Adventure series that had been written that was a Christian fiction series. I did not know about this series. I've never heard of it before. So this is book number 1 in the Choice Adventures series, The Mysterious Old Church by Neil S. Wilson. And it's from Tyndale Publishers and it has like the typical, choose where you want to go kind of style to the book, where you flip through, read the parts, but it's a little more of a story than a usual Choose Your Own Adventure. So there's a little more of a meatier story to it, and then there's choices to make based on what you want to choose. So I thought that was really interesting. I'd never heard of these. These are from the 90s. They look super interesting, and I'm really intrigued to read it. And then I picked up another book in the McGee and Me series, book number 4, Skate Expectations, which this is based off of a film series that came out on VHS back in the day and now on DVD, and probably streaming someplace. But this one is a novelization by Bill Myers, who also wrote the Bloodhounds Inc. series and the Forbidden Doors series, and this is Skate Expectations. And then I also picked up the entire series of Perimeter 1 Adventures. Now this is a sci-fi Christian book series. This is book number 1, The Meisenberg Accelerator. These are all by David Ward, and these ones in particular are signed by David Ward. So I was super excited about that. So this is like a sci-fi series that's a Christian fiction series. I have not read it yet. I'm super intrigued to read it. Although I hope it doesn't turn out like the Gilbert Morris sci-fi series that I read once upon a time, because that book was kind of weird. And hopefully this one won't be like that. But I'm excited to read this and find out what happens. And then book number 2, The Shaun Project. And then book number 3, Out of Time. And then book number 4, The Mines of Venus. And then I also picked up 2 more books in the Redwall series by Brian Jacques. So I picked up book number 1, Redwall, in this mass market paperback edition, which these are the ones I remember reading back in the day. So I slowly have been trying to find these. They're kind of expensive sometimes, but I found these for just like $2. So I picked this one up, Redwall, and I also picked up Matameo, which is book number 3, but technically the sequel directly to this one. Mossflower comes in between these, and I will not be rebuying that book because I hated that book. It was so boring. I'm sorry if you're a Redwall fan and you love Mossflower. I did not like it, but these 2, awesome storylines. Redwall is kind of like a series where there's like these animals that have this castle, there's like mysteries, and there's all these kind of like lore and stuff going on, and these 2 are directly related. They take place like different time frames and things, but they're super good. These 2 are especially really good ones in the series. And then I also found, finally, book number 2 in a series that I now have complete, which I can't believe I have them. I kind of, based on prices of them online, I thought I would never own them all. And now I do, because I found them for super cheap here and there. And that is book number 2 in the Star Trek Voyager Starfleet Academy series, The Chance Factor. Now this one is an old library edition, but it's in pretty good shape, honestly. And I can't wait to read these now that I have all 3, because Star Trek Voyager is my favorite Star Trek series. It's the one I remember growing up watching a lot. And so I really love the characters. I can't wait to read these now that I've got all 3 of them. It's going to be a good time. And then I picked up 2 more in the Secret World of Alex Mack series. And these 2 are kind of the rare ones, and I found them for so cheap. They were like $1. So this one is Haunted House Hijinks, which, yes, I will definitely be saving for Halloween time. And then also I found a copy of Halloween Invaders, which I will also be saving for Halloween time for sure. And then I also found at a charity shop, it was like just 25 cents, and it goes to, it's really cool because this particular shop, they have a lot of like used stuff of different kinds, but they also have a book section. And in this particular shop, all of the money goes to charity. It goes to help people who live without homes. And so I really love shopping there and finding books there. And so I found book number 4 in the Infinity Ring series. And this one is called The Curse of the Ancients by Matt de la Pena. So I was super excited to find this one. I have a few of these in this series. I love the 39 Clues series, which this one is kind of like it's kind of like the second series they did, Scholastic made after the 39 Clues blew up. And this one was not as popular, but I still have some of them, and I've slowly been trying to find them as I go. And so here is book number 4 finally, which I've never seen really in the wild that much. So, and it was for a really good price. So I grabbed it. And then last but not least, oh my goodness, so many books. There are so many books. So I found another Nancy Drew Case Files book, and that is book number 2 in the series, Deadly Intent, which I definitely was carrying around a city block when I had gone to the bookstore. This was the only one they had. And so I was carrying this around everywhere, and people were kind of like, oh, what is that? Nancy Drew? What are those? So I got to tell some people about Nancy Drew Case Files. But this is book number 2, Deadly Intent. And then I picked up 5 more books in the Nancy Drew Notebook series by Carolyn Keene, of course. So this is book number 1, The Slumber Party Secret. And then book number 2, The Lost Locket. And then book number 5, The Soccer Shoe Club. I have no idea what this one's about. And then book number 6, The Ice Cream Scoop. And then book number 7, Trouble at Camp Treehouse. And then I also found another Clue book that I didn't have yet, and that is book number 5, and this one is called Midnight Phone Calls, which now I'm getting very close to having all of the Clue books. I have just a couple left to find that are harder to find ones, but this one is book number 5. These are really fun. They're like little mini mysteries that you read, you try and piece the clues together, and at the end of the chapter, it has like a little scorecard where you try and piece together like who was where, who had what, all those sorts of things. And then it gives you the answer to the mystery upside down on the page. And so you read it, see if you were correct. And then this book looked really interesting to me. I really do love like fantasy middle grade fiction. It is one of my favorite genres. And I found this one that I'd never heard of before. And that is called Pyramid Hunters, book number 1, The Iron Tomb by Peter Vegas. So this one looked really interesting. It's a nice hardback edition of this book. There are 2 books in the series from what I can tell, so a little duology. And I love Egypt, I love pyramids, all that kind of stuff. So I'm super intrigued to read this and see what happens in it. And then I did not even know that this series existed. Like I said, I love mummies, I love tombs, I love pyramids, all that kind of stuff. And I do like the Mummy movies from back in the day with Brendan Fraser. And I did not know they had a middle grade book series based on The Mummy Returns. So I found 2 of these in the series. The first one is Revenge of the Scorpion King. And I just don't even know. But this is a really interesting, they're original stories based on the world of the Mummy in the Mummy Chronicles series. And I believe there's 4 books in the series total. So I also picked up Flight of the Phoenix in the Mummy Chronicles. I believe this is book number 3. So they don't have numbers on them, but this one is another one in the series. And then speaking of Joan Lowry Nixon, I found 3 books in her Disney Adventures Case Busters series. So I found book number 1, which this one is called The Statue Walks at Night, which these are like shorter reads, but they look really interesting to me. And I was super intrigued by the fact that they were Disney Adventures, because there was the Disney Adventures magazine that came out back in the 90s. It was a lot of fun. I have one, I read it. It was a really great throwback read. And so these looked kind of fascinating to me. So they had 3 of them, so I grabbed this one. And then I also picked up number 2 in the Disney Adventures Case Busters, The Legend of Dead Man's Mine. And then I also picked up book number 3, Backstage with a Ghost. And then last, but certainly not least, I found another super mystery in the Wishbone Super Mysteries series. And this is book number 3 in that series, The Haunting of Hathaway House. So Wishbone is a 90s icon. If you don't know about Wishbone, I don't know if you've really read literature, but this one is number 3 in the Super Mysteries. So these are a lot longer than the regular Wishbone books, which those were the typical like 120 page or so. These ones clock in usually around 250 or so. So I'm excited to read these ones. They look like a lot of fun, and they're all kind of like spooky mysteries, which I think is also really fun. So that is everything I found on my recent, just thrifting for books and trying to find anything I could find in all the series that I collect. And I couldn't believe all these things that I found. I was so excited. So until next time, everybody, keep reading. Bye.